He refused to open his eyes until she whispered a code no outsider should have known. And in that instant, the entire trauma bay went silent. No one in the emergency wing understood why the wounded Navy SEAL on the gurney was fighting the very people trying to save him. But the moment the rookie nurse stepped forward, everything, every breath, every doubt, every whispered question shifted. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. The story of chaos began the second they wheeled him in. A storm of boots, barked orders, the metallic sting of blood in the air. Dr. Alvarez was yelling for vitals. Two medics struggled to hold the man down, and nurses pressed gauze to a wound that wouldn't stop spilling red. His dog tags were missing, his uniform cut away, his fists clenched so tight his knuckles turned bone white. He refused treatment, not just resisted, but fought it like it was an enemy. And no one understood why, except maybe the rookie nurse standing frozen at the foot of the bed. Elena Reyes, her hands trembled around her chart. She was too new for this level of intensity, too new for a man like him, scarred, furious, half-conscious, and clearly military in a way that didn't forgive mistakes. The room buzzed with tension. People whispered. Visitors pressed closer to the glass. Even seasoned nurses felt the air thicken with something like fear. But Elena didn't feel fear. She felt recognition, because she had seen that look once before on her brother, hours before he was shipped off to a mission he never returned from. The SEAL on the table looked like a man on the edge of death and defiance at the same time. He growled through clenched teeth, "No touch, no meds. No one touches me," until his sentence broke into a cough that sprayed blood against his wrist. Dr. Alvarez snapped, "You'll die if you don't let us treat you. Hold him." But the wounded SEAL twisted with a strength no injured man should still have. Elena stepped closer without thinking. A risky move, a foolish move. But something in her chest pushed her feet forward. A nurse beside her whispered, "Don't get close. He's not in his right mind." But Elena didn't believe that. He was too aware, too controlled. This wasn't panic. This was protocol. Something else was happening. As she approached, the SCAL's head turned sharply, zeroing in on her even though his eyelids barely lifted. Elena swallowed. "Sir, you're safe. You're in a hospital. We're trying to help you." He spat blood onto the floor. Can't trust this place." His hand reached instinctively for a weapon that wasn't there. A medic muttered, "What is he talking about? We're losing him." Someone in the hallway gasped as a monitor beeped louder. "Faster." Elena leaned in. "Tell me what you need." He stared at her, eyes burning. "Unit. Only they treat me." The room fell into a hush so thick, it felt like the walls leaned closer to listen. Elena's pulse hammered. Her chest tightened, because she knew exactly what kind of man used the word unit that way. She whispered, "Which unit?" He glared but stayed silent. Cliffhangers hung in the air like suspended breaths. The blood pressure monitor dropped. Dust trembled on the overhead light. Someone outside the window whispered, "Is he dying?" Elena's mind raced. She remembered her brother's letters, the coded phrases he once taught her, not secrets, but symbols of trust, of belonging, of promises made in the dark corners of the world. Then she remembered one line he'd repeated so many times it felt carved into her memory. "If a SEAL won't talk, speak the code that opens the door." Her hands trembled as she placed a palm gently near the wounded man's shoulder, not touching, just close enough for him to feel warmth, and she whispered it. 5 simple words, words no civilian should have known. Shadows watch over their own. The reaction was immediate. The entire trauma bay froze. The medics stopped pulling. Dr. Alvarez's jaw dropped. A visitor in the hallway pressed both hands to the glass. The SEAL stopped resisting, stopped fighting, stopped twisting in pain. His chest stilled, not with fear, but with recognition. Slowly, painfully, he turned his head toward her. His breath hitched. His eyes, wild a moment ago, started to clear. "You," his voice cracked. "Who taught you that?" Elena swallowed hard. "My brother, Marcus Reyes." The SEAL blinked. And then something changed. Every shred of tension fell away from his muscles, as though the words had disarmed whatever instinct forced him to fight. His breathing steadied. His fists loosened. His head fell back against the pillow. He whispered, voice hoarse, "Reyes, Marcus Reyes was my spotter." The room gasped. Even Dr. Alvarez froze, mid-movement. Elena's vision blurred for a moment, not with shock, but with something heavier, something painful. Her brother had talked about a man he trusted more than anyone, a man he would have followed into fire. She had never known that man's name until now. The SEAL rasped. He saved my life. Twice. You have his eyes. Her throat closed. He never told me your name. He gave a small, broken laugh. He wouldn't. Too many ghosts follow us. The heart monitor beeped again, reminding everyone that the reprieve was brief. Dr. Alvarez snapped back into focus. Finally, if he's cooperating, let's save him. The SEAL looked at Elena. Only if she stays. The doctor didn't argue. Treatment began immediately. Tools clattered. Rubber gloves snapped. The trauma team moved like a human wave, coordinated. Precise, efficient. Elena held the SEAL's hand, not guiding him, but grounding him. Through every injection, every stitch, every spasm of pain that bent his body like a bow. And through it all, he didn't look anywhere except her face. As if losing sight of her meant losing his grip on the world. Hours later, the surgery lights dimmed. The chaos settled. The crowds in the hallway dispersed, murmuring about the strange soldier who obeyed only the rookie nurse who whispered a code. The SEAL lay bandaged, pale, alive. Elena sat beside his bed, exhaustion settling like dust in her bones. After a long silence, he whispered, "You saved me." She shook her head. "You wouldn't let us help until you heard the code." "That wasn't me. That was Marcus." His jaw tightened. "I never got to tell you. He died saving my whole team, and we honored him the way he would have wanted." Elena blinked back, burning tears. "He always said soldiers take care of each other." The SEAL smiled weakly. "We still do." The hospital corridors quieted for the night. A janitor hummed softly as he passed. Distant footsteps echoed. The world felt softer, warmer, safer, like grief had made space for something gentler. Elena whispered, "You know, for years I hated the military. I blamed the missions, the danger, the silence. But hearing you say he saved you, it feels like I got a piece of him back." He closed his eyes. He would have wanted that. The next day, when news spread of the mysterious code that calmed a dying SEAL, people from different wings stopped. Elena in the halls. "What does the code mean? Why did he listen to you? Are you related to him?" Elena never explained. Some things weren't meant for public ears. But she noticed something unexpected. Patients who once overlooked her now waited for her shifts. Nurses who doubted her now asked for her input. She had become something quietly powerful, not because of rank, but because of the compassion burning at the center of her choices. When the SEAL was finally strong enough to leave, he stood beside her in the hallway, leaning on crutches, uniform crisp, eyes steady. He handed her a folded cloth patch, navy blue, frayed at the edges, Marcus's uni patch. "We kept it safe," he said softly, "for when someone who loved him needed it more." Her fingers trembled as she accepted it. A piece of her brother, a closure she never expected. He added, "If you ever need anything you call. Shadows watch over their own." She smiled through tears. "Always." He nodded once, a soldier's farewell, and walked out of the hospital into the sunlight. She thought she'd never see him again. She was wrong, but that's another story. Ending, because kindness doesn't vanish. It waits, and it finds its way back. And sometimes, all it takes to open a locked heart is a whispered code in a crowded room. If you enjoyed this story, tell me in the comments what part hit you the hardest. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories just like this one. Your support means the world.